This morning, we will have our Los Alamos Derby Dames versus Elevated Roller Derby's Dawn Patrol. Skating this morning for Los Alamos, number 04, Star, 0734, Higgs Bosom, 1826, Florida Lethal, 212, Lots of Balls, 235, Supernova, 2380, Mac Daddy, 239, Rissa Rampage, 312, Riven Mayhem, 314, Irrational Karma, 323, Super Ova, 38, Smoky Terror, 420, Puff Puff Past Ya, 4242, Up to No Good, 44, Valkyrie, 5, Dragonheart, 53, Tits Banshee, 57, Beat Salad, and 6-5 Rainbow Rex. For Elevated Dawn Patrol, we've got a 1101 Misfortune, 1312 Southern Hell, 14 Jesse Jams, 248, oh, just gonna scooch past you there, 350 Cupcake Kamikaze, 404 Mommy Mia, 42 Meow Pow, 47 Author of Pain, 57 Bamwitch, 7 Paris Kilton, 75 AC Slayer, 77 Nekonomicon, 789 Hidden Kitten, 812 Evelyn Dead, 88 Rocktopus, 909 Tsunami, and 99 Twiggy Smalls. Looks like we are just about ready to get started here. Jamming first for Elevated is Misfortune. And for Los Alamos, Lots of Balls.
Enough, yeah.
Misfortune trying to take the outside line, held up by that tripod, trying to get a little offensive help from Nami. Fortune pushes past that tripod, picking up lead jammer status for Elevated. Lots of Balls trying to get through that front wall, and does. Misfortune getting a little more offensive assistance from Tsunami. Fortune pushing those Los Alamos blockers out of play, and does, picking up all 4 points on that pass. Lots of Balls held up by Elevated's tripod at the back of the pack. Fortune back around on another scoring pass. Getting a little bit of offensive assistance from our pivot, Mommy Mia. When we've got our first penalty of the game and the day, a multiplayer call on Dragon for Los Alamos. Fortune recycled to the back, making another attempt at this score pass. And a nice spin on the inside, picking up all 4 points. Taking direction from the bench, calling off that jam after picking up 8 points. Los Alamos scoreless. Jamming next for Elevated, that is Cupcake Kamikaze. And Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. We've got a slight pack advantage for Elevated as we do have one Los Alamos blocker still in the box. That is not going to slow down Smoky Terror, picking up lead jammer. Cupcake Kamikaze also out on the initial. Now we've got a foot race to the back of the pack. Smoky Terror slides through like butter, picking up all 4 points. Cupcake sneaking in 1. Current score, Elevated 9, Los Alamos 7. Jamming for Los Alamos, we've got Puff Puff Past Ya, but it is a Southern Hell jamming for Elevated, picking up lead jammer status. And we are going to have our first power jam of the game. Southern Hell picking up, I believe, a forearm call, taking a seat in the penalty box. Puff Puff Past Ya through with 4 already and looking for some more here. Puff Puff with 1 to beat and does, picking up all 4 points on that pass. Southern Hell has returned to the track and is engaging that wall of Los Alamos blockers in the back of the pack. Knocked out of bounds and forced to recycle. And we do have a track cut call on Puff Puff Past Ya. And another call on Southern Hell. Both jammers in the box right now. This is going to be real short-lived. Puff Puff sat down first and is released first. Both jammers out of the box, not able to get back out on the track before the jam comes to its natural conclusion. We've got 4 points for Elevated in that jam, 11 for Los Alamos. We do have a lead change. Los Alamos leading 18, Elevated 13. With just over 24 minutes to go in the first. On the jam line with the star for Los Alamos, that is Lots of Balls and Paris Kilton for Elevated. Paris Kilton thought she was through for lead jammer, but picked up a forearm call and is taking a seat in the penalty box. Lots of Balls through for lead jammer status and on the power jam. It's only jam 4, but we've seen quite a few jammer penalties so far. Elevated losing pivot AC Slayer to the box as well. Lots of Balls pushing past. Oh, just gonna scooch past you there and picking up 4 points. Paris Kilton back out on the track, engaging that tripod in the back. Paris Kilton through on the initial pass. Lots of balls, picking up 4 more points. Elevated blocker, just going to scooch past you there, taking a seat in the penalty box for a forearm just as AC Slayer pivot was released. Elevated scoreless in that jam. Los Alamos picked up 8. Los Alamos leads 26, Elevated 13. Misfortune back out on the jam line for Elevated. Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. Smoky Terror runs up the outside line, getting past Tsunami, picking up lead jammer status. We do have a star pass to our pivot turned jammer, Mommy Mia for Elevated. Smokey picks up all 4 points and calls off that jam. Very quick jam as just going to scooch past you there, still in the penalty box from the previous jam. Cupcake Kamikaze on the jam line for Elevated. Puff Puff past ya for Los Alamos. Puff Puff past you through with lead jammer status. Cupcake Kamikaze working very hard against the 2 wall of Los Alamos blockers at the back. Moving that pack forward. 1 to beat and does through on the initial pass. Puff Puff past you. Can't get past AC Slayer. Recycled all the way to the back. Cupcake through with 4 points for Elevated. Puff Puff past you through with 4 as well. Takes direction from the bench and calls off that jam. 4 on the board for each team in that jam. Los Alamos leads 34, Elevated 17. And we do have a timeout call for Elevated.
Sponsoring our officials this morning, we've got Rio Grande Credit Union. Looking for a financial partner you can trust? Rio Grande Credit Union offers checking, savings, auto loans, mortgages, and credit cards, all with local service you can count on. Visit us in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho, or learn more at rgcu.org. Rio Grande Credit Union, grow with us. We got Balloon Fiesta sponsoring our medics. Big thanks to the Balloon Fiesta for adding merch, collectibles, and tickets to our silent auction. Someone's going home ready for Fiesta 2026. We've got the Accounting Doctor sponsoring the Chili Pepper Green, because money. At the Accounting Doctor, our mission is clear: to help individuals and business owners take control of their financial health, starting with taxes.
On the jam line for Elevated, that is Southern Hell. And with the star for Los Alamos, lots of balls. Southern Hell knocked out of bounds and recycled all the way to the back by Higgs Bosom. Lots of balls, picking up lead jammer status for Los Alamos. Southern Hell out on the initial pass. Higgs Bosom pivot for Los Alamos, very quick to get the drawback, but also go into the penalty box. Track cut call on Southern Hell puts Los Alamos and Lots of Balls on the power jam. Lots of Balls getting some offensive assistance from Dragon through for 4 points. And we got a big pileup over there in the straightaway. Lots of Balls knocked out of bounds, recycled to the back, calls off that jam. Southern Hell was released from the penalty box, so looks like we've got a clear penalty box, 5-on-5 in the next jam. 7 points picked up by Ladd. Los Alamos leads 41, Elevated 19 with just over 18 minutes to go in the first. Paris Kilton with the star for Elevated. Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. Smoky Terror picking up lead jammer status. Paris Kilton also out on the initial. Elevated losing blocker Author of Pain to the penalty box. Smoky Terror knocked out of bounds, recycled all the way to the back. Paris Kilton through for 4 points. Smokey picks up 4 points, calls it off. Paris sneaks into 4 more at the end of that jam. 8 points for Elevated in that jam. Elevated stands 27, Los Alamos 45. Misfortune back out with the star for Elevated. Puff Puff Pastia for Los Alamos. Looks like one blocker in the box for each team. Misfortune with 1 to beat and is knocked down and out of bounds. However, did pick up lead jammer status before that hit. Puff Puff Pastia out on the initial, eligible to score. This jam will go the full 2 minutes. Puff Puff through with 4. Both jammers working very hard against those respective tripods of blockers. Mommy Mia trying to give a little offensive assistance to Misfortune. Misfortune through with all 4 points on that pass. Puff Puff still working on this score pass. Fortune back around on another score pass, getting held up by that tripod at the back, getting a little offensive assistance from Pivot Mommy Mia. Both jammers picking up 4 more points before the end of that jam. Eight points each. Los Alamos leads 53, Elevated 35. Hey, look at that. It's a palindrome, everybody. Woo! Cupcake Kamikaze back out with the star for Elevated. Lots of balls for Los Alamos. Cupcake through with lead jammer status. Lots of balls still working up against that wall of Elevated blockers at the front of the pack. Cupcake pushing that tripod, trying to earn some points at the back of the pack. Elevated losing Hittin' Kitten to the penalty box for a direction of gameplay. Cupcake Kamikaze through with all 4 points. Lots of balls out on the initial pass. Both jammers through for 4 points on that pass. Cupcake taking direction from the bench to call it just as Hittin' Kitten gets out of the penalty box. Box is clear for the next jam. 8 points for Elevated in that jam, 4 points for Lad. Lad leading 57, Elevated 43. Still a very close game with a lot of time left. Just over 12 and a half minutes in the first. Southern Hell back out with the star for Elevated. Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. Southern Hell through first, picking up lead jammer status. Smoky with 1 to beat and does out on the initial. Southern Hell with some nice tiptoeing up that outside line. Picking up all 4 points. Smoky Terror through with 4 points as well. Southern Hell taking direction from the bench staff, calling off that jam, picking up 2 more points. Los Alamos leading a 61, Elevated 49. $12 points separating these two teams in the first half. Paris Kilton back out with the star for Elevated. Puff Puff past ya for Los Alamos. Paris Kilton picking up lead jammer. Both jammers out and eligible to score. Paris Kilton hits that Los Alamos wall at the back, calls off the jam after picking up 1 point. Looks like we've got another Elevated blocker in the penalty box. This is going to give Los Alamos a 4-2 pack advantage at the start here with lots of balls on the jam line. Misfortune with the star for Elevated. Let's see if lots of balls can take advantage of this pack differential, and she does, picking up a lead jammer status very quickly. Misfortune knocked out of bounds on the outside line by Higgs Bosom and recycled to the back. Removes the star, and we do have a successful star pass to Mommy Mia, pivot turned jammer for Elevated. Lots of balls through for 4 points. Mommy Mia back around, looking to score some points. It's always very exciting when a pivot picks up points. And we've got a forearm call on Lots of Balls, putting Mommy Mia on the power jam. This jam will go the full 2 minutes. Mommy Mia knocked out of bounds and recycled to the back, looking for a little offensive assistance from the elevated blockers. Lots of Balls back on the track, engaging the elevated blocker wall at the back of the pack. Mommy Mia trying to push that Los Alamos tripod forward, getting knocked out of bounds and recycled to the back by Dragon. Lots of Balls through for 4 points. And that jam comes to its natural conclusion. 4 points picked up by Elevated in that jam. 8 points Los Alamos. Los Alamos leads 69, Elevated 54 with 8 minutes left in the first. Cupcake Kamikaze with the star for Elevated. Supernova for Los Alamos. Supernova's first time jamming in this game. Cupcake picking up lead jammer. Supernova out on the initial. Supernova picking up all 4 points. Cupcake still working on this score pass, takes direction from the bench, calls it off after picking up 2. Southern Hell back out on the jam line for Elevated. Puff Puff past ya for Los Alamos. Puff Puff pushing that last blocker out of play, picking up lead jammer status. Southern Hell out on the initial. Puff Puff picking up 3 points and calling off that jam. We do have 1 blocker in the box for each team, I believe, from that no pack call that no one responded to. Lots of Balls with the star for Los Alamos, but it is Paris Kilton with the star for Elevated, picking up lead jammer. Lots of Balls still working hard against that tripod at the front. Paris Kilton re-engaging for points in the back. Lots of Balls with 1 to beat, and that one is AC Slayer. Pushed out of play, balls through on the initial. Paris with 4 points on the board so far in this jam. Taking direction from the bench, calling it off, but clearing the penalty box. Los Alamos leads 76, Elevated 60 with just under 5 minutes left in the first. Misfortune back out with the star for Elevated. Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. Very quick official timeout, but we're ready to roll. Smoky Terror trying to take that outside line and does. Both jammers out. Smoky just in the lead with lead jammer status. Now we've got a foot race. Pack is speeding up. Smoky takes direction from the bench, calling it off after picking up 4 points. Fortune picking up 2 points. Los Alamos leads 80, Elevated 62. Cupcake Kamikaze back out with the star for Elevated. Puff Puff past ya for Los Alamos. Puff Puff past you, pushing that tripod of Elevated blockers up. Both jammers through. Puff Puff past you, picking up lead. Cupcake Kamikaze right there, forcing that call off. 0-0 jam. Looks like we've got the Elevated pivot sitting in the penalty box. Los Alamos will have a slight pack advantage at this jam start. Southern Hell with the star for Elevated. And that is Dragonheart with the star for Los Alamos. Dragon's first time jamming in this game. Dragon, an aged up junior from the Cherry Bombs, no stranger to the star. Dragon tries to take the inside, is knocked down and out. Picking up a back block, giving Southern Hell, who has picked up lead jammer status, a power jam. And a nice, easy pass on the inside, picking up all 4 points. Elevated looking to cut into this very small deficit they have. Southern Hell with 2 to beat. Trying to push that 2 wall out of play. And does, picking up all 4 points. Los Alamos losing Tits Banshee to the box. Dragon has returned to the track, engaging the Elevated blockers, star in hand, through on the initial pass. Southern Hell through on 1 foot, picking up 4 more points and calling off that jam. That was 12 points for Southern Hell and Elevated. We've got a 6-point game with 1 minute left in the first. Los Alamos leading 80, Elevated 74, in what will likely be our final jam of the first half. Paris Kilton with the star for Elevated. Lots of balls with the star for Los Alamos. Just kidding, we've got a timeout. Looks like we've got 1 blocker in the box for each team. Paris Kilton picking up lead jammer status. Mommy Mia returning to the track, elevated with all 4 blockers. Los Alamos down 2 blockers currently. Lots of balls through on the initial. Paris Kilton through for 4. Paris Kilton around the outside, picking up 4 points. Lots of balls also through for 4. Paris Kilton with a nice spin move on that outside line. Right at the end, picking up all 4 points, calling it off. 12-point jam for Elevated, 4 points for Los Alamos. We do have a lead change going in to our intermission. Elevated leads by 2 points, 86, Los Alamos 84. All right, we are just about ready for our second half of this very exciting matchup between Elevated Dawn Patrol and Los Alamos Derby. Elevated leading by only 2 points coming out of this intermission, 86, Lad 84. 30 more minutes of gameplay. Looks like we've got 2 blockers starting in the penalty box for Elevated, giving Los Alamos a large pack advantage at the start of this jam. Misfortune with the star for Elevated. Smoky Terror with the star for Los Alamos, out with lead jammer. Smoky Terror engaging that 2-wall of Mamma Mia and Tsunami in the back of the pack. Misfortune pushing through for the initial pass completion. Smoky with 4 points and looking for some more. Elevated gaining 2 blockers back, losing another to the penalty box. We got a bit of a rotating penalty box right now for Elevated at the start of this second half. Smoky Terror engaging that tripod of Elevated blockers at the front of the pack. Misfortune back around. Oh, but getting a penalty and headed to the box, putting Smoky Terror and Los Alamos on the power jam. Elevated now with a full component of blockers back out on the track. Smoky Terror gonna call off that jam and ice the Elevated jammer in the penalty box, giving Los Alamos a power start for this next jam. Los Alamos picking up 14 points, 15 points, 15 points maybe in that last jam. Elevated with 4. Los Alamos taking the lead back, 99, Elevated 90. Lots of balls on the jam line alone for this power start. See if they can get lead jammer status out of this power start. Misfortune back out on the track, engaging that wall, able to come out of the box and pick up lead jammer status for Elevated. Lots of balls through on the initial pass. Misfortune with a nice little run up that inside line, picking up all 4 points. Lots of balls engaging that Elevated tripod at the front of the pack. Elevated losing blocker Author of Pain to the penalty box. Both jammers picking up 4 points on that pass. Lots of balls working very hard against an Elevated tripod at the back. Misfortune trying to push that Los Alamos 4-wall forward. No pack call. Does spring Misfortune through for 4 more points. Lots of balls getting held up by the Elevated pivot AC Slayer. Lots of balls cuts outside and is through for 4 more. Misfortune taking direction from the bench to call off that jam. Three points picked up by Elevated on that last pass. 15 points on that jam for Elevated, 8 for Los Alamos. We're back to a 2-point differential. Los Alamos leading a 107, Elevated 105 with 25 and a half minutes to go. Puff Puff past you with the star for Los Alamos. Cupcake Kamikaze for Elevated. Puff Puff past you with a nice spin move on that apex, picking up lead jammer status. Elevated losing blocker Meow Pow to the penalty box. Puff Puff gets past them for 4 points. Both jammers working very hard against those respective blocking tripods. Captain Crush of Elevated trying to keep her blockers in play a little bit longer. Puff Puff passed for 4 points. Cupcake Kamikaze still working on this initial pass. Star in hand. Looks like we do have a successful star pass to pivot turned jammer Evelyn Dead. One to beat and does through on the initial pass. Puff Puff passed you through for 4 more points. Gonna call off that jam. That was a 12-0 jam in favor of Los Alamos. Los Alamos leading 119, Elevated 105 with 24 minutes to go. Southern Hell back out on the jam line for Elevated. Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. Penalty box does look clear. We've got 5-on-5 derby. Smoky Terror pushing past those Elevated blockers on the inside line, picking up lead jammer status. Southern Hell knocked out of bounds on that outside of turn 1 and recycled all the way to the back by Supernova. Smoky Terror takes a bit of a tumble, but up real fast and through for 4 points. Southern Hell still working on this initial pass. And we do have a successful star pass to pivot turned jammer. That is a Mommy Mia now with the star for Elevated. Smoky Terror knocked out of bounds on the inside, picking up 3 points and calling off that jam before Mommy Mia can get back around. No points for Elevated. Los Alamos leading 126 to 105. 22 minutes to go. Oh, we got a little jammer love on the jam line. Paris Kilton for Elevated. Lots of balls for Los Alamos. Paris Kilton tries to take the outside line, is knocked out. Unfortunately, comes back in front of those Los Alamos blockers, picking up a track cut. This is going to put lots of balls on a power jam. Lots of balls, pushes through for 4 points. Lots of balls re-engaging that four wall. Paris Kilton back out on the track, knocked out of bounds and recycled to the back by Tits Banshee. Paris Kilton knocked out of bounds on that inside apex again by Tits Banshee. Lots of balls with one to beat. That one is Pivot AC Slayer and pushed out of play. Lots of balls picking up 4 points. Paris threw on the initial and right on Balls' back. Lots of balls taking direction from the bench, calling off that jam. That is another scoreless jam for Elevated. Los Alamos leading 134, Elevated 105. Just over 20 minutes to go. Misfortune back out with the star for Elevated. Puff puff past ya for Los Alamos. Slight pack advantage for Los Alamos as Hittin' Kitten still in the penalty box from the previous jam. Misfortune pushing past those Los Alamos blockers, picking up lead jammer status. Puff puff past ya, through on the initial pass. Both jammers on a score pass. Fortune right around the outside for 4 points. Elevated losing blocker Tsunami to the penalty box. Misfortune through on the inside for 4 more points. Puff puff past ya, getting a little held up in the pack by the Elevated blockers. Elevated losing another blocker to the penalty box, gaining one back, but we've got a revolving penalty box of Elevated blockers with just gonna scooch past you there, taking a seat. Misfortune with a nice spin move on that inside line, picking up 4 points. Puff puff past you, picking up 2 points on that last pass because the star was removed from the helmet. If you don't have that star on your helmet, you cannot earn those points. Misfortune picking up 3 more points. That was a 15-point jam for Misfortune and Elevated. 5 points for Ladd. Los Alamos leading a 139 to 120 for Elevated. That is a 19-point game with 17 and a half minutes left to go. We do have a team timeout for Los Alamos.
A big thanks to Guerrilla Graphics for making our tournament shirts and our snazzy purple venue host shirts. They were great to work with, fast and friendly. Derby Gear Emergency, Upgrade Itch, just want to look? Visit Ramps and Alley Skate Shop while you're here at Rumble on the Rio. They're vending at the event and ready to help keep our skaters rolling. A shout out to Blake's Lottaburger for the breakfast burritos. Nothing says New Mexico tournament morning like showing up tired and being saved by Blake's.
Los Alamos is going to have a 2-blocker advantage at the start here for Smoky Terror with the star for Los Alamos. Cupcake Kamikaze with the star for Elevated. Smoky Terror picking up lead jammer status. Cupcake recycled all the way to the back by Dragon. Cupcake removes the star, does not pass it, but that is a good enough distraction to get out of the pack on the initial pass. Smoky Terror through for 4 points and looking for more. Nice pass on the outside for Smoky, picking up 4 more. Four more points for Smoky and Los Alamos in this jam. Cupcake Kamikaze knocked out of bounds and recycled to the back by Tits Banshee. Cupcake through for 4. Smoky getting held up by that pivot. AC Slayer at the front of the pack is knocked out down and calls the jam from the floor. And we do have a team timeout call from Elevated.
A huge thanks to Dion's for loading us up with pizza this weekend. That's real community support, and we're absolutely not leaving crumbs. A huge thanks to Good Wives for keeping the tournament weekend a little less swampy. Derby in the heat is no joke, and we appreciate the backup. In this venue, we throw them out in the garbage. A quick reminder, our silent auction is open now. Every bid helps support Rumble on the Rio, and there are some seriously cool items waiting for new homes.
Southern Hell back out with the star for Elevated. Lots of balls for Los Alamos. Jam is on. Southern Hell taking that hit and staying up through for lead jammer status. Southern Hell through for 4 points. And we do have a successful star pass by Los Alamos. That is Riven Mayhem, our pivot now turned jammer for Los Alamos. Riven Mayhem taking some hits and staying inbounds on that outside line, picking up 4 points. Southern Hell through for 4 more and calling off that jam. 8 points for Elevated, 4 points for Los Alamos. Los Alamos leading 158, Elevated 132 with just under 15 minutes. Paris Kilton back out on the jam line for Elevated. Puff Puff past ya for Los Alamos. Puff Puff past you, pushing those Elevated blockers out of play, picking up lead jammer status. Paris Kilton, star in hand, picking up, I believe, a high block call, taking a seat in the penalty box, putting Puff Puff past you on the power jam. 4 points already, looking for some more here. And we do have a back block call on Puff Puff Past Ya. We're going to have a little jammer swap out in the penalty box. This jam will go the full 2 minutes. We'll see if Elevated can take advantage of this power jam to make up some of this deficit. Paris Kilton through on the initial pass, looking to score some points now. And we got a big pile up in that straightaway over there. Puff Puff Past Ya back out on the track, engaging the Elevated blockers. And a track cut call on Puff Puff Past Ya, putting Paris Kilton once again on the power jam for Elevated. Paris Kilton through with 4 points. That jam does come to its natural conclusion. 4 points for each team in that jam. Ladd leads 162, Elevated 136. Just over 12 minutes to go, and we will have a power start for Misfortune and Elevated. Misfortune getting some offensive assistance from the blockers, managing to stay in bounds on the inside and through with the lead jammer status. Puff Puff Past Ya back out of the box, re-engaged with the Elevated blockers at the back of the pack, knocked out of bounds and recycled to the back by Tsunami. Misfortune pushing those blockers out of play and through for 4 points. Puff Puff Past Ya out on the initial pass. Misfortune with 1 to beat, and does through for 4 points. Puff Puff Past Ya also with 4 points on the board. Misfortune through for 4 more. 12 so far on the board in this jam with time still to go. And a big hit by Super Ova, taking down almost the whole pack in the front there. Misfortune through for 4 more. 16 points in that jam for Fortune and Elevated. 8 points for Los Alamos. Los Alamos leading 172, Elevated 152. 20 points separating these teams with just under 10 minutes left. Lots of balls back out with the star for Los Alamos. Cupcake Kamikaze for Elevated. Cupcake working hard in the back, getting a little bit of offensive assistance from Captain Crush. Lots of balls through first. Lots of balls picked up lead. Cupcake Kamikaze out in front, but not with lead. Lead had already been awarded. Cupcake working hard against those Los Alamos blockers in the back. Lots of balls. Committing a back block penalty and taking a seat in the penalty box. Putting Cupcake Kamikaze on the power jam with 4 on the board so far. This jam will go the full 2 minutes. Cupcake getting some offensive assistance from the elevated blockers. Through for 4 more points. Cupcake coming back around on another score pass. Lots of balls out of the box, re-engaged with that elevated blocking wall in the back of the pack. And the jam comes to its natural conclusion. Looks like 2 points picked up by Los Alamos at the end of the jam, 3 points for Elevated. That is an 11-point jam for Elevated. Los Alamos leading at 174, Elevated 163. 11 points between these two teams with 7 minutes left in this game. And we do have a timeout call from Los Alamos.
Let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Nulo Pet Food. With Nulo Culinary Harvest, just add water for a delicious gravy your dog or cat will love. A complete and balanced meal with an easy crunch for those picky animals, so your fur babies can roll into the day just like a champ at the roller rink. Pop over and see Nulo for samples and where to get your Nulo. Rio Grande Credit Union. Need better banking made simple? At Rio Grande Credit Union, we help you save more and borrow smarter with great rates and friendly local support. Stop by a branch in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho or visit rgcu.org to get started today. Rio Grande Credit Union, here for you.
Southern Hell with the star for Elevated, Smoky Terror for Los Alamos. Southern Hell tries to take the outside, knocked out of bounds and recycled all the way to the back by Dragon. Smoky Terror picking up lead jammer status. And we do have a successful star pass to pivot turned jammer Mommy Mia, now with the star for Elevated. Mommy Mia taking a spill. This floor is very slick, I will attest to that. Smoky Terror through for 4 points. Both jammers working very hard against those respective walls. Smoky Terror knocked out of bounds, but didn't realize it. Picking up a track cut, headed to the penalty box. This jam will go the full 2 minutes. I believe this is the second time Mommy Mia has been that pivot turned jammer, stuck with a 2-minute jam because of a Los Alamos jammer penalty. Mommy Mia through for 4 points. Mommy Mia getting some offensive assistance from the elevated blockers. Mommy Mia knocked out of bounds on the outside and recycled to the back by Tits Banshee. Smoky Terror back on the track, engaging with that elevated tripod. That jam comes to its natural conclusion as Higgs Bosom was trying to recycle Mommy Mia to the back. 7 on the board for each team in that last jam. 11 points separating these two teams with 4.5 minutes left. Misfortune with the star for Elevated. Lots of balls for Los Alamos. Lots of balls through for lead jammer status. Misfortune with the star in hand. Knocked out of bounds, but just after she was able to pass it to AC Slayer. Pivot turned jammer for Elevated. Balls picking up 4 points and calling that jam off. Do have a timeout call for Elevated. This is their last team timeout with just under 4 minutes to go.
Let's give a shout out to Jen and Jupe. A huge shout out to Jen and Jupe Productions for their support of Rumble on the Rio this year. Join the firm unity at jenandjupe.com. The Accounting Doctor. At The Accounting Doctor, our mission is clear: to help individuals and business owners take control of their financial health, starting with taxes. At E6 Physical Therapy, we're keeping Albuquerque's jammers juiced and blockers balanced. Visit E6 Physical Therapy for an assessment today.
Los Alamos leading by 15 points. 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in this game. Cupcake Kamikaze with the star for Elevated. Dragon back out on the line with the star for Los Alamos. Cupcake trying to sneak up that inside line, but is knocked out of bounds and recycled by Higgs Bosom. Elevated losing blocker Evelyn Dead to the penalty box. Dragon knocked out of bounds and recycled, but now through for lead jammer status. Cupcake recycled to the back by Higgs Bosom. We do have a successful star pass, pivot turned jammer. That is Tsunami. Dragon through for 4 points. Dragon through for 4 points. Dragon gonna call that jam off. Nami picking up all 4 points on that pass. 8 points for Los Alamos in that jam. 4 for Elevated. Los Alamos leading 193-174 with just over 2 minutes to go. Paris Kilton back out with the star for Elevated. Puff puff past you for Los Alamos. Paris Kilton with a little matrix move on that inside line, picking up lead jammer status, thinking it was a penalty call, but it was not. Puff puff past you with 1 to beat and does through on the initial pass. Both jammers on a score pass. Both jammers through with 4. Paris Kilton picking up 2 more points in that jam, calling it off. Six points for Elevated in that jam, 4 for Los Alamos. Los Alamos leading 197, Elevated 180, 17 points, 45 seconds to go. This will likely be our last jam of the game. Smoky Terror with the star for Los Alamos, Southern Hell for Elevated. Southern Hell able to stay in bounds. Out on the initials, Smoky Terror through with lead jammer. Smoky through for 4. Southern Hell still trying to get past that tripod of Los Alamos blockers at the front of the pack. Smoky Terror taking down most of that Elevated wall, 1 to beat, and does beat Captain Crush, picking up all 4 of those points, calling off the jam. No time left on the clock. Unofficial final, 205 to 184. Just a reminder, teams, we will need your MVPs over here at the announcer table, jammer, blocker, and overall. And that is our final. Los Alamos wins it 205 to 184. What a very exciting game to start off day 2 here at Rumble on the Rio. Congratulations to both teams for a well-played, close, exciting game of Derby. First thing in the morning, way to wake us up. Don't forget, we have a whole table of wonderful silent auction items out in the hallway. Be sure to go check that out. There's a lot of cool stuff. A lot of stuff yesterday had no bids, so you might be able to win some really cool stuff for a very reasonable price. Teams, please bring me your MVP selections. I see Jendi Nooch strutting over here, bringing me some MVPs right now. Thank you. I think you can, Penny Painful. All right, I do have our MVPs for game one. MVP Jammer for Los Alamos is number 420, Puff Puff Pass Ya. MVP Blocker for Los Alamos, Higgs Bosom. And our overall MVP for Los Alamos is Dragonheart. And for Elevated, MVP Jammer goes to Paris Kilton. MVP Blocker for Elevated, Tsunami. And overall MVP for Elevated is Mamma Mia. Congratulations to all of our MVPs and everyone on both teams for a very well played game.